The genesis and execution of that disastrous tweet is so trivial and absurd compared to its perception and consequences that it defies me talking about it. I was still on the step and you thought, you can't, because it sounds...
You can't get into it, can you?
No, I mean, for long and the short of it, for 10 years or more previously, I'd done a thing,
I know,
and I choose the word carefully, aping the kind of pitches that people make to telly, rather like Alan Partridge with his monkey tennis, but this predates that. I used to do this thing in the show where I pretended to be angry because this... I used to like those shows 5 minutes before the news that BBC had, Magic Roundabout, Noggin the Nog. I said, here's a great one. What we need now, we need more absurd television. I said, and this is it. None of them are replying to my brief. I said, it's a doorway in the middle of a field. And they say, well, before the news here on BBC One, it's time for monkeys dressed as famous people plus fairground music. And I used to make it I was dead serious. And I used to put on fairground music. This is on the radio, of course. Yeah. And I said, and I'd invite the audience to send historical figures that would look funny if the monkey came through the door dressed as a famous person. Obviously, we never did anyone of colour. You can't. No. You've got to be an ignoramus or a racist, be unaware of that trope and that slur. But it went of 10 years on and off. And people would ring in and... send email, and it would. So I would then go. The music would play. The door would open. Through would come a monkey. Why, here she is. The sun never set upon her. It's Queen Victoria. Leave. The door would shut again. Why, anyone involved with rock and roll will instantly recognise from San Francisco. It's Frank Zappa. Off he'd go. Now, remember, you couldn't see any of this. This was all in there. And then the last one. England's greatest striker still sniffing around for half chances. It's Gary Lineker. Join us again tomorrow. And we did this for ages and ages and ages. And we had this patch made for anyone who got their suggestions read out. And it was identical to the photo that got me in so much trouble. Right. It was identical. It was a little patch we'd send out of a chimpanzee in a top hat. And it had written on it, monkeys dressed as famous people plus fairground.
And that was it?
And that night I sat there and...
when did you realise, Danny? Because...
Oh, God. It's been about 2 or 3 minutes because I saw people on Twitter saying, I'm sure he doesn't mean that. I'm sure he doesn't mean that. Yeah. I think it might have not been... And I thought, what? What? I genuinely hadn't thought, what? Because the thing, I'd just seen Royal Baby and I thought, what? And then someone's got a direct message, Dan, you do know there's a race at...
Because... What, you forgot that Meghan...
No, that's the one thing journalists on the step couldn't understand. Yeah. I genuinely had no idea and of course once...
I found that believable. I can understand why people didn't, but you don't follow the royal family that closely.
Not at all. She's not current. See, that's the thing. They said, but you're a broadcaster. Well, my shows are nothing.
Not really
if not
that
absurd,
sort of broadcasting.
Slightly surreal, yeah. My subjects on Saturdays, they don't know that. They think I'm sitting there bloviating.
Yes.
No disrespect. No, they think... they obviously thought the Cockney fella, he must... It's so peculiar, that whole backstory to it, and the idea that you would do it and not know.
Well, that was the point, wasn't it? Because I was talking about it live on the radio, and there was no way I was going to let anybody try to claim that it was conscious.
It could not have,
because if you were a massive racist, that's the last thing you would do.